Hey, Allison, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I appreciate you being here. And
No problem. Thank you for asking.
I'm excited to get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. Me too.
So how about let's get affiliated? I'll start out putting Allison on the hot seat here right away. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, aliens have just landed on planet Earth. How do you sell them a house?
Oh boy. I asked them if they're working with anybody yet.
Well, that is such a good compliant answer. Look at you. Interterrestrial representation at that point. Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
What's your hidden talent?
Oh, man. So I can juggle. I guess that'd be a hidden talent. Very crazy stories as a kid. The neighbors across the street from us, they had a daughter the same age as my sister. He'd drive us to school every day. He was an attorney who moonlighted. Yeah, thanks. As a clown, and he literally taught me how to juggle when I was like 10 years old. Still a fun party trick to this day.
Nice.
Yeah. So my hidden talent.
Great.
How's that sound?
That's great.
Weird
Can't
one.
wait to see it. I'm going to
Weird
put you
one.
on the spot.
Weird one. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Allison, thanks so much for being here. This is fun.
You're welcome. It's fun. I'm glad you're back in town here.
Yeah, for sure. So we know each other a little bit, but not a ton. So I've got some hard-hitting questions I want to ask you about.
Okay.
One, just tell me a little bit about your background. Like, are you from Southern California?
Yes, I'm actually a fourth generation native Southern Californian, and my kids are fifth.
Okay.
So we're a rare breed.
Okay.
And born in Palm Springs and grew up in San Diego, North County, Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Real estate is my second career.
So tell me about that. What was life before real estate?
Well, I worked for kind of a famous retailer.
Oh, okay.
I've always kind of been in sales. So worked for them, and someone told me once, wow, Allison, with your design background and your sales background, you should, as much as you like homes, you should be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
You should get into real estate. And I thought, okay, well, the light bulb moment went on,
Yeah.
and I decided, wow, instead of somebody returning a pair of pants, I could just sell a house again. Right?
That's true,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, so that was it.
So you made that jump over into the real estate world. How long ago was that? Like, when did you get licensed, and when did that kind of all
You know what, I
take
got
place?
licensed in 2003, so I'm on my 20th year.
Yeah, congrats. And
Thank you.
Kind of an interesting time, right? When you got into it, 2003, the market was kind of on this upswing,
Yes,
and then
upswing,
hit the
and
recession a little bit, and then came back up again.
Saw the real debacle of 2008. Yeah.
But I always say people that get their license, cut their teeth in that time frame, really understood how to sell, how to take care of clients and customers. You learned so much in that time period that I'm sure did well for you in your career.
Yeah, I actually learned how to work. I mean, there's easy markets and hard markets. So I was a big geographical farmer. I would start with that, and then just do what my niche was that I like to do, and just kind of went with that. And
Nice.
you navigate the markets.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you one last question, and
Sure.
I'll stop hogging all the questions. So you've been in the business for a while. You've second career path. What do you just love about our industry and being a realtor?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, people ask you, why did you get into the real estate? Well, you have to make a living, so you have to have money to live. But the biggest thing is just, helping people. Handing out keys for the first time is a fantastic feeling. So
I always loved kind of working with first-time home buyers, mainly because of that, right? Like helping that person get their first home was just so much fun, and you saw that joy in like, oh, I didn't think I could ever buy a house, and I bought one. Like that, there's always a magical moment about that.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely.
Fantastic.
So I got a couple questions for you.
Please have at it. I'll answer the best I can.
What made you get into real estate?
Wow. So, truth be told, my mom and dad were both in the industry. My dad was a broker since I can remember. My mom became an agent probably when I was, 10, 11 or so, so I was pretty young. And I always said, I'm never going to do this, because I was always kind of around it, right? Probably much like, your kids see you and say, I'm never going to do it. So I was going to get a degree in business from the University of Minnesota. I was going to college. My dad was like, you should get your license. Come help me a little bit. And I was like, no. Finally, I think it was my sophomore year of college, I got licensed that summer, moved back home, started helping him in a little bit, worked some open houses, and I sold one house that summer. This was 2001. Sold one house that summer, made more money than I did the entire summer before working whatever odd jobs I did. And I was like, well, this isn't so bad. I could figure, this stuff out. And truth be told, I really fell in love with the entrepreneurial side of real estate. I loved, it was one of those rare industries where whatever you put into it, you kind of get back out of it. So I ended up getting a degree both in business and in real estate. So I got a dual degree in that. Moved back home, started helping my dad shortly after that. Worked for my dad for a few years, and then kind of eventually said, I love you, Dad, but I want to do something bigger. And he eventually connected me with Bill Kessler, who was the founder of Century 21 Affiliated, who I later ended up buying the company from, and kind of the rest is history.
Went from there.
Yeah.
So as CEO and owner of Affiliated, which is a huge company, how do you keep the cohesiveness between your agents and managers?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. We try to do things like this and stay connected. We really, when we got involved with the company, or when we started the company and really started to grow it, a big piece of the puzzle for me was making sure we were there to help our agents. And a lot of times it is just getting into the offices, connecting with the agents, finding out what their needs are. If somebody needs a new tool, system, support, training, we don't know that unless we get out in the field and have conversations with people. Yeah. So, as basic and cheesy as that may sound, like just literally having open conversations. Every agent in the company has access to my email, my cell phone. If somebody wants to call me, text me anytime, they're welcome to. I always say I may not be the person to solve that problem, but I will help them get the right answers. And to me, I think that is how we keep everything tied together. We always have to think about what can we be doing to help support our agents, and it's pretty, our philosophy is pretty simple. If we're helping our agents, or we're helping, great agents like you be better at what you do, support you as best as possible, we're doing our jobs right. And to me, that's kind of where the magic happens, and where we try to focus a lot of our time, or at least I try to focus a lot of my time there.
Great.
Yeah. So Allison, we've had a couple rebrands in the last couple of years you've gone through. Just kind of curious how you've navigated that.
Yeah, well, I just navigated forward. I didn't pay attention to the static that was going on, and I just stayed focused on my business and helping my client, and that helped quiet everything.
I feel that really summarizes what you do. You're a great professional, and you know how to really work on your client and customer base and not get caught up in the other stuff. And you've been extremely successful with that, so congrats.
Yeah, thank you. How did you navigate that rebrand?
I try to do the same. Listen, it was a big lift on our end because, we needed to really have a couple different rebrands. We rebranded, a number of years ago away from the old Century 21 logo to the new C21 seal. I actually think there was some negative around that, mainly because of the history, I think, of the old brand.
Yes.
But I think the new one really pops and works in so many marketplaces and really catches the eye of the consumer. So we were excited about that, but that was a big overhaul that we had. And then obviously here in Southern California, we've had the rebrand from Award to the Affiliated name. And those things always just take time, but it's a lift that the entire team does, and we've got a great support network to put it through. And our biggest thing is making sure that agents aren't interrupted, and as long as we're doing that and helping you through that process, that's the big piece of it. So,
super.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question about the marketplace we're in. Right? It's I would say that it's a complicated market. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot that's going on. What are some tips you have of kind of practical ways of dealing with the marketplace right now for other agents out there?
Well, being an agent for a number of years, there's a market within a market.
Oh, yeah.
Right now we're in a market where I've actually gone back to basics, doing a lot of calling your SOI and geographical farming, getting educated more. It's a time to do that, but you really have to put boots on the ground. So in a market like this, you have to actually do the work. We came from a market that had a lot of people getting into the market, a lot of agents coming into the market, and when the market's great, you can sell anything to anybody, but you have to know how to work it when it gets like this.
Well, and I think that speaks to a little bit of how you got into the business, right? Getting back to 2008 through 2011, you had to really figure out how to work the market.
Yes.
I think that same skill set translates to the business we're in right now.
Right.
working in your sphere of influence, prospecting methods, keeping to your schedule. I also think you said it really well, like educating the marketplace. We really got to make sure that the homeowners out there know and understand the market that we're in, the rate environment that we're in, and what it means.
Right.
And we've talked about this a little bit in some of our market updates in the offices. I think we're starting to move into the upswing in this marketplace. And as that happens, I think that education piece is like so critical for the consumers out there. And quite frankly, I think that's a big part of what we do is constantly educating, homeowners and home buyers and sellers about, okay, what is the nuances of the market, how to navigate it. I mean, we play psychologists half the time out there, right? That's a big part of what we do.
Right.
So
right.
Obviously, I don't live in Southern California. I live in the Midwest,
Yes.
although I love it out here. You really are an expert in the local marketplace. So tell me a little bit about your local marketplace and tell me if I was going to dinner in your local marketplace, where's the number one spot I have to go have dinner?
Oh boy, well, we have so many great restaurants, but when I speak of the local marketplace, I think of Temecula, Murrieta Valley.
Yeah.
It's not just Temecula or just Murrieta because there are different areas of each of those. But as far as restaurants, the wineries have great restaurants, but right here in Old Town, we have one called the Goat and Vine, which is one of my favorites.
Okay, all right, I love it.
So Dan, I have actually never been to the Midwest.
You are always welcome, by the way.
Thank you. We talked a little bit about what works in California, but what works in the Midwest that might work in California?
Yeah, but I will tell you right now, the same kind of market challenges we're facing in the Midwest and we are in Southern California. And I would say our agents out there are being creative in new ways to connect with people. We talked earlier today about lead follow-up or past client follow-up and making sure that you touch somebody 10 or 12 times takes that many follow-ups in order to connect with somebody. And we're having a lot of agents getting back to those basics and working on their lead follow-up, really kind of fine-tuning their CRMs and how they're connecting with people and really working that database and not trying to be all things to all people, right? I think sometimes people spread that net so big and they're trying to grab everybody opposed to, I'm really gonna focus on this group of potential clients for me and work that network really hard. And I think people that are doing that and they're being disciplined in this market are having really, really good success.
Great.
So Allison, you've been a top agent, top performer in this industry for a long time. I give you so much credit for that. And we talked a little bit about some practical tips. I'm really curious, you're a great listing agent. What do you do specific for your listings that maybe others aren't doing right now?
Well, I can tell you the more prepped you are, the better. So I start way in advance and try to have my CMA done, my everything I need to get ready for listing it. I take my contract with me, but also when I'm there and I've actually gotten the listing, then I'm already setting up photography, videography, when I'm going to make the social media posts, all of that. So
do you go into that listing with all of that? Hey, here's the game plan, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Here's how we're going to handle this. Here's the next phases, and that's part of that listing presentation.
I do. I have a full marketing outline, and it's specific to each property because each property is different.
Yeah.
So if you're meeting with a high-end seller, there's going to be different stuff on there. There's going to be maybe some extra video that's going to go into that. Where if you're marketing a condo, that's a little bit different as well. So yeah,
no, that's
it's
fantastic.
all specific.
Yeah, that is a great way to go about it. And obviously I can see why you're such a strong listing agent. So Allison, if somebody, client, customer, another agent wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, pick up the phone and give me a call. I answer my phone.
Great.
For sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love
And
it.
what about you?
Same. I will answer the phone. Usually email's the best based on my schedule, and I've said that before. Anybody can contact me that way.
Great.
Yeah. Well, listen, Allison, I know that we covered a lot here. It was really great to get to know you and
it was
dive
wonderful.
into some of that. Yeah, this is fantastic. Thanks for being a part of this, and we are excited to see the growth the rest of the year with you.
Very excited. Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.